Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about background of the Indian planning. Okay. So here in the previous class we discussed about the Congress plan. So that is Indian National Congress Party. So it is started to establish a National Planning Committee in 1938. Okay. So after establishment of the National Planning Committee, so there were some important developments which are related to the Indian planning in the independent India. Okay, so those are very important and which are very prepared for a foundation for the coordinated planning in independent India. Okay, so coming to the first point, so that is post war reconstruction committee. So actually, so this was one type of the committee especially for the post war reconstruction. Okay, so it was set up in the early 1941 June. Okay, so the government of India so formed this type of the post war reconstruction committee. Okay, so here reconstruction of the economy means so whenever there was some world war, so because of the world war maybe the economy was disturbed by those wars. So that's why to reconstruct of the economy, so they consider such various plans for the reconstruction to get out of the backwardness because of the wars. Okay, and second one, consultative committee of economists. Okay, so it was one type of the committee and it is also considered as a think tank. So chairmanship was by the Ramaswamy Mudalayar and it was set up in 1941. Okay, so under the chairmanship of the Ramaswamy it was set up in 1941. So this was a consultative committee of the economist and this was considered as a think tank. Okay, just to advise the four post-war reconstruction committees for executing a national plan for the country. So especially after the war, that is post-war, so just reconstruction of the committees, so total there were four post-war reconstruction committees just to advise, to give the important recommendations to the four post-war construction committees just for promotion of the national plan for the country. Okay, so that particular committee, that is a consultative committee of economists, it suggested many plans for the different areas of the economy. So okay, so this is very important. And the next one is the third one, that is a planning and a development department. Okay, so after all possible delays, so it was in 1944 it was established and the government created a planning and development department. A special department is very important for the economy. So under a separate member of the Viceroy's Executive Council, so for the organizing and coordinating the economic planning in the country, it was very important and it was established 1944. So it is one type of the department just after all possible delays, because before this important department there were so many committees, consultative committee, post-war committee, four post-war committees were there. So those were very delayed by the situations in the India, because in that particular time we didn't get the independence. So this is one of the main reason, just delay of those particular committees and departments. So this is the third planning and development department. So under a separate member, so the member was related to the Viceroy's Executive Council, especially for organizing and coordinating the all economic activities and plannings in the country. Okay. So there were so many acting members were there just to consider the all planning and national planning in the country. So one of the important person was Ardeshir and Dalal. Okay, so Ardeshir Dalal, he was the main important person and he was a controller of the Bombay plan. So in the next class we'll discuss about the Bombay plan. So he was a controller of the Bombay plan and he was appointed as one of the acting members of this particular department. Okay, so here more than 20 panels of experts were set up. Okay, and the central departments and the governments of the provinces and Indian states were invited to prepare detailed plans for the industrialization, especially in that particular time. So we considered industries as very important for the economy. So that's why they started to giving plans and important details regarding the industrialization. Okay, so this department was abolished in 1946. Unfortunately it was abolished. Okay, So next last one is Advisory Planning Board. So in October 1946, so the government of India so appointed this committee, and it was called as the Advisory Planning Board. Okay, just to review the planning, that had already been carried out of by the British government. Okay, so just it was an advisory body to give the advices for the already existed British government planning. Okay, so here the work of the National Planning Commission and other plans and proposals for the planning, and to make the recommendations regarding the future machinery of the planning. Okay, so just already existed work of the National Planning Commission, and already the planning was carried out by the British government, and other plans proposals also, just to make all the recommendations and to create the future machinery for the planning. So this is very important, that is Advisory Planning Board, just to give the advices. Okay, so here the board, that is Advisory Planning Board, strongly recommended the creation of a single and compact authoritative organization which is related to the planning. So it is very responsible directly to the cabinet. So in each and every government, so cabinet is very important, because which is having a great attention towards the development. So this is the hands on the development. So here the authoritative and responsible for the directly to the cabinet. Okay, so it means which should have the devotion, its attention, just it has the attention towards the whole field of the development. So that's why finally the advisory, I already said advisory means the giving advices towards the planning. So that's why the Advisory Planning Board given the suggestion, and it recommended the creation of a single compact authoritative organization. So it is just responsible directly to the cabinet. Okay. So in the same way, the Advisory Planning Board, which is very similar to the FICCI's views of the 1934. So in 1934 only some advices proposal were given by the FICCI. So in the previous class we discussed about the FICCI's view, and in the same way in 1946 also the Advisory Planning Board also given and recommended the same suggestion. Okay. So in that FICCI's views, it said that autonomy and authority to say on the process of the development planning, the working in the tandem, it means the overall working and with the union government is very important. Okay, and it also influencing the developmental decisions of the states. Okay, so not only planning with the union cabinet, so but it has some influencing character towards the developmental decisions of the each and every state in the country. Okay, so actually, so this was happened in 1950 with the setting up of the PC. So this type of the ideology was set up in 1950. It means we got independence in 1947, right? So in 1950, so we came with the planning commission. This type of the ideology also was settled in the planning commission. Okay. So the board, the Advisory Planning Board, it was given its report in January 1947. So it expressed the opinion that the proper development of the large scale industries can only take place if political units, whether in the provinces or states, just they have to agree to the work in accordance with a common plan. Okay, so that is national plan. So common plan is very important because there was a large scale of the industries are present in India. Just we have to focus on the large scale, and if the large scale is very important, means just political units, whether they are in the states or provinces or in the central level, just each and every state, each and every province will agree to the work in the accordance with a common plan. So this is the very important suggestion or recommendation which was given by the Advisory Planning Board. Okay. So if the states or provinces agree to work in the accordance with the common plan, so this type of the suggestion worked as a great influence on the planning. Okay, so each and every economy of a particular state and central government in accordance with a common plan and a common ideology, so it will leads to a great planning in the country. Okay.